talked about how to solve the yellow bottom side, but we had adjacent corners. So our corners that were correct looked something like this, where the corners lined up here, and we had two of them that were next to each other on the same face. But I talked about how to hold those adjacent corners in the back. Well, now we're going to talk about what if you have diagonal corners. So that means like I would turn my top layer until I have two corners that are correct. So I can see a correct corner here. I don't see a corner here. I do see a corner here. So notice again that I just moved my top layer in any direction until two lined up. Like that doesn't line up, but this did line up. So I have a correct corner here, okay? And I have a correct corner here, and they are right here. They're diagonal from each other, okay? If they were here, they'd be adjacent, or even here adjacent, or maybe here adjacent. But if they're here or here, they are called diagonals, okay? So I have this correct diagonal and this correct diagonal, these two here. So we need to talk about how we're gonna hold it, and then we're gonna do the same algorithm that we would have done even with our adjacent corners that we had before. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold it so that in my front face, my piece is in the front right, and my other correct piece is the back left. Okay, so really you just need one correct piece in this front corner, which was similar to our 2x2 cube. Okay, so once I have that, I've got my yellow on top. This is my front face with my correct corner in the right. And I'm gonna go ahead and do this algorithm. So I'm gonna move this right, front, right, invert. Okay, we've got two back moves, 1, 2. Okay, I've got right move, front, right invert, two back moves. Okay, and then I'm down here, two right moves, and an up turn. So I got it that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and reevaluate and see what we have. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and line up. I don't have all of my yellow corners solved, and really it looks like I have one, but let's go ahead and move my cube and see if I might have something else somewhere else. I think it's gonna be these two greens. Oh, nope, not that one. There we go. All right, so now I have these match in the back and these match in the back. So now I'm back to this adjacent corner. So whenever you have diagonals, you do have one step more, but now we're back to the last video that I just did, which I'm just gonna do again with you because I have these two adjacent corners. And if you watched that video, you knew that you were gonna hold them in the back. So again, yellow on top, my two correct corners that I just made are gonna go in the back, and I'm gonna do this same algorithm again. So we're gonna move it right toward us. Then we're gonna do front, right invert, two to the back, right, front, right invert, two to the back, two to the right, and one more up move. And as you can see, we kind of got lucky again and we're able to solve the cube. Oftentimes you have to go to the next page and there's one more step where we have to move these edges. It would actually be these edges, because this part is only to position the yellow corners. But if you can see, obviously with it solved, I do have my corners. Oftentimes you have these edges that need switched, and that's usually the last step, but we got lucky again. So I'm gonna make one more final video about what happens when you do that step, either diagonal and then adjacent or just adjacent, and these don't line up. So we were lucky and got it solved, but there's gonna be one final video for that case where these edges did not line up correctly.